Fireman Township website. Start with pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I remain standing for military here and abroad, and also for Vern. All right, thank you. Vern was an officer in the police department. I know Sam knows him, I don't know if Adam knows him, but I don't know if you know. He was, for him, 25 years, 30 years? 38 years. 38 years. I mean, he was here. I knew him. He took my kid's blood a couple times. He spoke his mind. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, God.
He was good. He was good. He passed away Thursday? Thursday.
All right, I'll call roll. Mayor Huber.
Here.
Deputy Mayor DuBois.
Here.
Committeeman Capides.
Here.
Committeewoman Stampoulis.
Here.
Committeewoman Vasallo.
Here.
Okay.
Thank you all for coming.
Well, thank you.
Erica had brought this up a while ago that she'd like to discuss things before we go out on the podium. And that's why we're doing this. We're going to try it and see how it goes. If everything works out, we'll keep it going all year.
She, meaning bringing back the workshops?
Yeah, workshop.
Okay.
She asked for the,
Okay.
she had talked about it last year. Right, Erica?
Yeah, I remember prior, I was
Yeah.
running the first time coming to those, I thought they were good. At the
Yeah.
firehouse,
Right.
you guys used to have them.
So can you just walk me through the purpose of the workshop session, and because this is new to me as well, so and the reasoning behind it, and then what we hope to accomplish in prior to our first public meeting of the month?
In other words, we discuss anything, like administration report. He's gonna come, go over it. Something that stands out in your mind, say, well, maybe we should check on this. I mean, there's a couple things I have that I want the police to check on,
Okay.
and a couple of departments to check on that I put on my phone already.
So if we rectify those things during this workshop session, are we sure to bring those things up
You can bring
at
it
the
up.
public
Yeah.
meeting again?
You can.
So,
You
okay,
can.
okay.
You can bring it up, and if not, you just say, you know, if they answer your questions tonight, or they get your answer,
Right.
then it's fine, you know, it's fine. And nobody says anything at the public meeting. Then we have the meeting, we vote on what we have to vote on, and that's
Okay.
it. All right?
While we're on the subject of this meeting, I mean, I guess for here is for this, today is fine, but would you consider for the future, putting it out there where there's a little bit more room?
We go there, we can go to the firehouse, wherever you want. We used to have it at the firehouse years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to go to those.
Yeah, I don't, you know, it's up, you know, we'll see how it works. If more people start, if more people come, it's tight cords right now, we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
All right?
Just on the note,
Yeah.
we used to do it at the firehouse as opposed to here because court, we used to have court, evening court sessions. So we haven't had those in a while, which is why we can do it, as you suggested, out there, or we can do it in here. And if I may, Mayor, just, you know, we will make this work. The department heads and myself and the clerk will do our best to make this work. If there's, you know, we tried to lay out the format of the agenda. We discussed it with the mayor, you know, department by department. Under each department, we're gonna try and list the ordinances and resolutions associated with that department for the meeting the next day, and try and anticipate for the following meeting. And then discussion action items, those are things that will evolve perhaps either into a resolution or an ordinance, or just require your action or your guidance or your direction for us. And then the department heads all received an email from me explaining how this process will work, so they can forecast the next meeting and the meeting ahead by way of any ordinances and resolutions, anything that needs action for the agenda. So if you have any suggestions for us, please let me know, and we will work to modify the agenda.
Well, I like Billy being in here instead of Cook. Cook or talk for a half hour.
I'll be sure.
Billy, you got
I
it
promise you.
right away. Okay, first up is, yep,
Okay, so I will dovetail. Thank you, Mayor. Administration, we have two ordinances for tomorrow. The first one is the, I'm sorry, thank you, two resolutions. The first one is the Bergen County Schools of Tech with our IT shared service agreement. That had been discussed in a number of executive sessions previously. I also emailed you all. I did meet with, I had my annual meeting with Bergen Tech's shared services coordinator. We are gonna renew at, or he gave us a renewal at a reduction in rate, no reduction in service. I explained to him how we've been moving to the cloud, the services have changed, our demands have changed, and you know, they were reluctant, but they understood. And so he went back that day, spoke to his supervisor, and came back to me as quickly as I let you all know. So I recommend renewing the contract. I think it's a great savings there.
And excuse me, Ziad, I'm sorry, just so everyone knows, I have to abstain on this vote when we get there, because I'm employed by Bergen County, so I'm gonna have to abstain.
No problem.
Any questions for me on that?
Yeah.
Thank
Could've
you.
got more money back.
Tried.
No,
Did the best I could.
no, I have no problem with that.
The next one is PACO. That is an annual resolution that we do to appoint our compliance officer, which is Mr. Mardini over there. And that's on the agenda. We have to send that to the feds, is it? Or
Yeah, we send it to state, yeah.
to the state? Any questions on that? It's more of a routine matter.
Don't send me to the Fed.
Sounds scary.
What'd you do? Again.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I'll move on to my discussion and action items. The first item is the residential energy aggregation program. To give you some background, in June, to remind you, in June of 2017, we did an auction on it. We've done two things. We've done the residential side, and we've done the municipal side. The municipal side was successful. We were able to save about $70,000 in our gas and electric, which is fantastic. This is for the residential program. We did the auction in June 2017, carrying on a program that had been put in place several years before with Mayor Barnett. And the auction had gone off a couple times. It was not really the rates that they had wanted. They delayed it. June, same thing. We got a smaller than expected savings. I think it would have amounted to $70 a household or so for the year. My recommendation, I think you all concurred, was it wasn't worth the headache of going through that. There's another company, a competing company, that says they can do better. It costs us nothing to try to do these auctions. They asked, it's called CUC, they are affiliated and, not affiliated, I'm sorry, they are sanctioned and compliant with all the BPU regulations concerning residential energy aggregation, so we would do that thing. However, it would require a new ordinance. It has to be adopted by ordinance. The last company was adopted by ordinance, so this would need a new ordinance, which they provide. Mr. Dowd would review it for legal completeness and ensure we're in good shape. But with your okay, we would introduce that ordinance, it would then get adopted, and then we can start the process with that company. I don't want to have them go through all that if you guys aren't willing to try it.
No,
Like I
Let's give it
said,
a shot.
if you can save money I'll save money. Okay, I mean, you gotta save money. Anybody that says they don't wanna save money is wrong, I think.
the last company is, just so you know, it was CIMEC, also known as EMEX. The new company is CUC, Consolidated Utilities Corporation or something like that. But I'll send you more information in the coming weeks. Just wanted to feel you out on that. Any questions? Okay. The next, municipal building restructuring renovations. This one's a bit of a heavier lift here. In other towns, so we've got issues with the annex. Obviously, it's an old building. It's got storage issues. It's got layout issues. And what I'm proposing is something similar to what is in other towns. For example, New Providence, where you have a giant window to receive the public. Right now, the finance offices are split up. You've got the tax collector downstairs, you have the tax assessor on one side, and you have the finance operations on the other side. My thought is that we could put all of finance together in one big shared space. That would be where the administration offices are right now. It would require a little bit of conceptualization, and we would, with your okay, get an architect and go down that road to get a better visual. But think the window that's there right now being much larger, the door being shifted off to where the mailboxes are, and that window is a much larger counter where multiple people can serve the public, and the walls that are in the administration offices would be knocked out, and in there you would have the tax collector, the tax assessor, the CFO, and all of those finance operations working out of there. The individuals, the employees that are there would be cross-trained to do what the other person can do. So for example, this year we saw with tax collector, and we had individuals from the finance office going downstairs, people from the administration office going across the hall. This would enable them to all work a bit more easily, cross-functional, cross-training, and hopefully alleviate some of the pressures on staffing. It would also create a more of a welcoming experience, I think, for the public. And then the administration offices would move upstairs to where the assessor is located. And then the annex would come over here. We would have the tax collector's office be the construction office where Maggie and Denise are. So that would be opened up as a counter for the for construction. And then the engineering zoning would be upstairs where finance is currently located.
Or whatever the annex building.
And then the annex building we can demolish and we can.
Hey, more demolition? You get a hard hat again?
Exactly.
Eric's ready to get
I'm ready to
around.
go.
The thought is that this would enable us to take steps in the direction of eventually, we're looking to have the DPW building moved to Mount View. We could get a head start on some of this. We would save in terms of having right now 2 buildings that we have to heat and provide electric for. The storage over there is, again, it's out of control.
What storage is over there?
You've got the attic upstairs, and the basement isn't used for anything because of flooding concerns, but the upstairs.
What's in the attic?
In the attic are
What
all
you're saying.
plans.
Yeah, I know, I
Yeah,
kinda
plans
do.
and permits.
I had a dream about this the other day.
So where would those storage containers go if we're not gonna be using that building?
Well, we would have storage in the basement down here. We have plenty of room downstairs for storage.
Which is also a flood area.
Hasn't flooded, and we have Sam, I'll defer to you. We don't have any concerns about flooding.
No, last
there.
time it flooded was during
Floyd.
Hurricane.
Andrew.
No.
Andrew.
Floyd.
Floyd.
Floyd, thank you. And after Floyd,
Thinking about old school.
we did do some work to flood-proof the building. We added those staircases on both sides of the building, and I don't think we flooded since.
We really haven't had anything substantial since then. I mean, it used to flood, start raining and it used to flood.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, we
over here.
located the area where the water was getting into the building, and basically with the 2 sides entrances, and we took care of that by adding the staircases.
We're also, the construction office is also doing a lot of work. Maggie and Denise do scanning of all the records after hours. They're digitizing all the records themselves instead of paying an outfit to do that as well.
That's good.
So the goal is to go paperless, reduce some of that. Right now, I think what I'm asking for is the ability to do feasibility and conceptualization plans for you guys to take it to the next step, to see if it's feasible.
It's cost effective.
See if it's cost effective, engage the architects like Cornerstone, who we've used for the Chisholm and for the pool. Otherwise, we leave it as is, but I think that we'd drive a lot more operational efficiency from that. And, I think it takes the town to the next step here.
Please work your prices from the architect, tell them your ideas and see what he says.
Okay.
I know there was a plan at one time Ed had a plan one time,
Yeah.
to
Whenever
go
we see
this
it.
way
Right.
and take the library, I think, and move it over here and get that whole thing.
That's part of that's the next phase. So, the first phase is let's get those over here. The next phase would be that, where we would move police and the court across the street with the library. That would give them the flexibility as they're expanding, give us more room downstairs. And again, I think we gotta take it step by step. If we come up with a big plan to take that down, build this annex, do all this all at once, it's gonna be cost prohibitive. But
Yeah.
if you take small steps.
But the only thing is, I don't wanna say the first phase,
Right.
and all of a sudden have to start doing, do double work.
Right.
We own the Hershey building, whichever the smart move when they bought it. I'm sure that it would, that it has to be worth to the town something, I mean,
Right.
we get something for it. So we'll get the plans, but also expand, see about the expansion over there.
Sure.
See what happens.
Okay. And for way of knowledge here, and it'll go into another conversation. We've got a lot of issues with the court as is. I mean, Lieutenant Siri could say security is not ideal. They're doing the best with that.
Oh, yeah.
It's inundated up here. If you come and you see the court, how it runs, they do a fantastic job with it. But it's hard to keep accountability and security.
So we gotta move a prisoner from downstairs to.
Up there, yeah.
Up to the-
Oh, no, you're right.
And then you have the prosecutor's office. He is not safe at all. The prosecutor is sitting in the lunchroom right next to all the crowded defendants, and the public defender is in a shared space. right next door. I mean, there's a lot of concerns, and I want us to be forward-thinking about these, so that way we're not bursting at the seams at a point where it's too late or too urgent.
Okay.
So,
Then we get an architect on board and see what they say.
okay,
Get the good prices. We'll go, I would get prices first, so give them your idea.
sure, okay. Anything else on that? All right, the next item, jitney rates. A memo was sent to you. I asked Mary Ellen to give me a synopsis and a background on that. She's our jitney coordinator. I think she did a great job of summarizing and giving some history on that. Just to give you some additional information, the non-resident parking fee is not charged, hasn't been charged in a very long time. If you look at the non-resident revenue that's derived, we only have about 3 non-residents even using it. So my suggestions based on that are to get rid of the annual and quarterly rates. Right now we've got, as you can see there, $600 annual, you got $150 quarterly. I think it's better to do away with that. Very few people pay annually. It's a large chunk of change for some people to pay $600 annually. So they're paying monthly anyways, or they're paying quarterly. And then you have the case where some people pay annually or pay quarterly, and then they ask for a refund because maybe they injured themselves, they broke a foot, they're not commuting into work, they're teleworking, summer schedules. So then you end up having to go through the refund process. My suggestion is to go to a monthly, change the ordinance to just go to a monthly rate. Makes it easier. You want to pay more, you could get a discount. If you prepay annually, we'll give you a 5% discount. Right now, that comes out to be, though, you're paying $50 a month. My suggestion is that we increase that. There hasn't been an increase, as you can see, since 2006 or 2005. We end up in a situation where now, 10 years, 11 years later, costs are going up, as you can see from the chart, but the revenue is not meeting that. It's about the same number of people every month coming in, but the money is not meeting the expenditures. So my suggestion would be take that up to from $50 to $60 a month. That's a $10 a month increase. And that comes out to be $720 for the year. And if they prepay at a 5% discount, we'll make it $680. In either case, we'll see an increase in revenue. It won't break us even right up front, but for the first year, we don't want to hurt the residents, the users, too quickly. So it would be this modest increase now, and then every year incorporate a slight increase to bring us to the point where we're meeting expenditures. And then we want to go to simply online-only payments, or because right now a lot of people pay cash or check to the driver. We haven't had necessarily any issues that we're aware of, but we want to prevent any issues. It also makes it easier from a bookkeeping perspective, like we did with the alarms and the police. It's so much easier when the payments are done online. So those are my proposals to you based on this report. If you're okay with that, I would ask Mr. Dowd to draft up the ordinance to amend our current jitney ordinance, so that way we go from, again, 50 to 60, to eliminate the annual and the quarterly, to make it a monthly rate of $60 with a 5% prepayment discount.
Do we ever check to make sure that they're paying? I mean, I've taken a jitney home and I give $3 to the driver. You know, he drops me off on Marcy Avenue when I walk up. But do we ever check the car? There's a lot of cars over
So
there. I mean, do we have stickers or?
No, so I apologize, I left that out, I should have expanded on that. There used to be parking tags, that has since been done away with, because the only people that pay the parking tag are the non-residents. But we haven't had them use that, because there's been mostly 0 to 3. So this would actually, and I apologize, we would have a non-resident fee. We would charge them an extra $5 a month for non-residents. So that way you have non-resident fee, which would roll in, rather than have a separate parking and jitney fee. That just means the police has to check the hang tags, which it's an unnecessary burden. Just roll it into the permit fee for using the jitney, and makes it easier on the driver. So I apologize, it would be a $60 a month, no, thank you, $60 a month resident, $65 a month non-resident.
Do you still have the officer that he's second class or what? I mean, this, like he goes around checking it. I want to make sure. I don't know if we still have him. Okay.
So is that okay? Is that an acceptable proposal?
I think so.
And this would be for 2019.
Okay.
It wouldn't be for 2018. It's already started. We don't want people budget. People talk to their employers. A lot of people expense this with their companies anyway, so we don't want to hit them for this year. So this gives us enough time where we can introduce, adopt the ordinance, and provide ample notice for 2019.
I put it on their cars right there. You know,
Give them a flyer.
Or flyer or something like that, so they know that next year they're gonna be hit, and then we can do it again in the end of August, and then the end of the year.
Okay.
All right, I mean,
Is that okay with everyone?
Yes.
I have no problem.
Okay. That's all I have under administration, Mayor.
No, okay.
Oh, yes, it's real big now, so I want everybody to pay attention to this. Temple Shari Shalom is changing their dates for their raffle license.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's nothing. All right. Finance.
Okay, first of all, I just want to say I'm sorry about the delay in the bill list. Everybody saw it by now, but I did send it a couple hours ago, so, but hopefully we'll never have that happen again. So number one, BSR was also distributed, hopefully on Saturday, everybody got that. We all saw that there's about $1.3 million. There should be maybe about $200,000 of usage, which has to do with payroll, utilities, and other bills that are going to be charged against that, and there's going to be some other items